What if the path to ultimate freedom wasn't handed down by gods or revealed through scriptures, but discovered through a young man's refusal to stop questioning everything? What if the key to ending suffering was not belief, but a fearless investigation into the very nature of life itself? In Chapter 4 of our journey, we follow the footsteps of Siddhartha Gautama, not as a divine being, but as a human being determined to answer one piercing question. Why, being subject to birth, do I seek what is also subject to birth? This is the noble quest, the story of the Buddha's spiritual autobiography. But more than a story, it is a blueprint for inner transformation. And what we learn is this: liberation doesn't begin with belief. It begins with a question, a real one, a courageous one, asking the right questions, the birth of wisdom. The Buddha's path began not with visions or revelations, but with a deep form of self-inquiry. He didn't just ask teachers, he asked himself. What if I, being subject to aging, were to seek the ageless? These were not philosophical musings, they were existential decisions. He was not content with borrowed truths. He wanted to see for himself. And that's why his story matters. Because you can follow that same process, not in the forest, but in your own life. Each question he asked was like a compass, guiding him past dead ends and false teachings. And each answer had to be tested, not in books, but in body, heart, and mind. The path of relentless effort. The Buddha didn't attain awakening by waiting for grace. He pushed himself, sometimes to the brink of death. Gladly would I let the flesh and blood in my body dry up, but I will not rest until I reach what can be reached through human striving. This wasn't reckless ambition. It was a resolve born of compassion for himself and all beings. But the greatest breakthrough came not through pain, but through wisdom. He realized that neither indulgence nor self-torture would lead to peace. That insight was the birth of the middle way. Dividing the mind. Two kinds of thought. In his quest, he learned to divide his thoughts. Thoughts that lead to harm, agitation, delusion. Thoughts that lead to peace, clarity, and liberation. And he trained himself to abandon the first and cultivate the second. Not by force, but by understanding. Whatever you think and ponder often, that becomes the shape of your mind. This simple insight holds profound power. It means that we are not prisoners of our thoughts. We are their architects, the three knowledges, the night of awakening. On the night of his enlightenment, the Bodhisatta achieved three great insights. Recollection of past lives. He saw the vast flow of rebirth. Karmic patterns of beings. He saw beings rising and falling according to their actions. The ending of mental fermentations. He saw the Four Noble Truths and broke the final chains. He did not declare a creator. He did not claim divine revelation. He simply saw things as they truly are, and in that clear seeing, he was freed. A new way to understand questions. From his journey, the Buddha developed the fourfold response strategy to questions. Answer directly if it leads to liberation. Answer analytically if the question is flawed but sincere. Ask a counter-question to help clarify misunderstanding. Put the question aside if it distracts from the path. He arrived at this not by theory, but by experience. His own life became the laboratory for awakening. The Bodhisatta's quest is not ancient history. It's a living mirror, a challenge to each of us to ask deeper, truer questions. What am I really seeking? What am I clinging to? What thought could set me free? If this episode moved you, reflect on your own spiritual autobiography. What have you done not just to survive, but to awaken? Subscribe to the Noble Truth Podcast for more real wisdom, real questions, and real freedom.